we were told was simple, but it really isn't that simple. Now I think we more or less know. So I wanted to tell you, first of all, besides thank you for being here, that the purpose of this was inspired by something that Tamra and I used to love, which was I would read to her about Plotinus, the Syrian Roman Neoplatonist. And Plotinus' students who loved him, they wanted to celebrate his birthday. And Plotinus said, why would you want to celebrate my birthday? Like, I obviously did something wrong to be down here. Like, celebrate my day of liberation. And Tamra always said, I love that. Like, definitely, like, celebrate my day of liberation, not my birthday. So here we are celebrating Tamra's day of liberation. She crossed over exactly 1 year ago today. And this idea came to us from Nancy, who works with the Abraxas Lodge of the Theosophical Society. She inspired it, but unfortunately, not well, actually, fortunately, a grandchild was born today, which is wonderfully symbolic, and she couldn't be with us in that capacity. So Chelsea and Edie came to my rescue, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do for this. And they both had the idea that in honoring Tamra's intent, which was always to create safe spaces and to encourage people to share their own creativity, that that was how we should celebrate Tamra's Day of Liberation. So everyone that has been invited here to share and is wanting to share, it doesn't even have to be about Tamra. It can be anything creative. In that spirit, we've gathered here. And you probably have heard the Starfish story, but in case you haven't, I'll tell it very quickly so you understand the whole principle behind this. In her zine, her Riot Grrrl zine, Tamra told the story of a little girl who went to a beach after a big storm, and thousands of starfish had been washed up on the sand. And she started throwing them in one by one. This man was watching, and he thought it was such a futile effort because there were so many. There was just no way that she could even dent the number that were doomed to die on that beach. So he thought he was doing her a favor when he walked up to her and he said, little girl, what you're doing doesn't matter. No matter how long you stand here throwing starfish into the water, most of the starfish are going to die. She threw in another one, and she said it mattered to that one. And in many ways, that was Tamra's philosophy of life. It went very well with her saying, it's not about the fame, it's about the individual conversations. So in that spirit, everyone gathered here is going to share something that hopefully will be inspiring to you. So who would like to go first? Dave, I think we should let you go first because I know that you need to move on pretty quickly, right?
Uh, yeah.
Okay, so let's go with you. I want to introduce you, even though you introduced yourself. Dave is the longest lasting Lucid Nation drummer and was a great friend to us. And he used to drive his motorcycle up here. We had incredible spiritual conversations and played wonderful music together. If you go on YouTube, you can see us and Margaret, who's also here, Grit, playing the now kind of ironic cover of Johnny Thunder's song, You Can't Put Your Arms Around a Memory, which Tamra sang for our drummer Tia Sprocket, who had passed away. And now the song is kind of for Tamra, but you can hear Dave drumming on that and on many other Lucid Nation tracks.
Well, thank you, Ronnie, and hey, everybody. Oh, man, where do I start? You know, playing with Ronnie and Tamara, that was it was an era. There was a lot of events in my life that was an era. What I mean by that, it had a beginning, it blossomed, and then it died out and faded away. But the era was always remembered, and this was one of them. One of the things we used to do was when we played music was just play. I mean, it was in the moment on the spot, and that's something I absolutely love when musicians get together and just make stuff up. And one of the, when I think of Tamra in particular, both Ronnie and Tamra, but but Tamra was very, how do I put it, kind. She was a very kind person, um, very kind and very generous. And I mean, I don't know what other word to describe her, but kind of just says it all. One of the fond moments that I have with Tamra was, and this made me laugh every time we were playing, when when she had to count off the tempo of the song. It didn't matter what tempo the song was. Then Tamra counted it off. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, go. So we had to catch her at her tempo, her lyric pattern. That was the tempo. But it was just also it was just so funny how she always did that. Tamra counted off 1, 2, 3, 4, bam. But very kind person, very, very kind person. And that also goes to you, Ronnie, my brother. But that's about it.
Thank you, man. Tamara was punk rock about counting off. Every tempo was punk rock for Tamara. In fact, she was constantly struggling, I think, if you will agree with me, to get us to play faster.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, nothing was slow, man. But the one thing that was cool also was even it was Tamra's band, but she wasn't a Gestapo band leader. Not at all, man. And that's a pleasure. That was a pleasure to be in that environment.
Yeah, it was rare.
yeah, jump in here, man. You were there for a lot of those sessions. What do you want to add to that?
Uh, yeah, I've been thinking about it. Just by chance the other day, I was listening to that uh, redo of the Halloween song, uh, and just kind of, I didn't realize until you told me, until I learned today that those were real people in there. I just thought it was just names she made up, and that just kind of really floored me at the depth of it. Because I mean, the more I heard them 100 times, the lyrics of that song, or however many hundreds of times, and it's like the first time I'm hearing these images, and
Let me jump in for a second for people
yeah,
that maybe the song's called Last Day of Pretend.
uh,
And it's a song about these kids who are trying to celebrate Halloween, but one of them has been called off to war. And so now there's a real fear, and Halloween isn't fun anymore. And so I was telling Phoenix that the main character in the song is a guy named James. That's who everybody is afraid for. And that there really was a James, that when Tamara was a little girl, there was a guy in the neighborhood who was about 10 years older than her. So she was about 8 and he was 18. And he was somebody who would affectionately call her Spaz and was nice to her. And he got drafted and sent to war, and he came back in a box. And that really stuck with her. And so the song was really about him. But she also mentioned her friend Pam, who was her best friend in high school, and another friend, Tara, who was somebody that was there when I met Tamara for the first time. So she often put these sort of inner meanings into her lyrics. And if you listen to the song, it is about real people.
yeah, that I had no idea. I thought it was just the art, just being creative, And the more time passes, the more I realize, there was real poetry in there, and just the lyrics themselves, just the images that they make, they get more, they get more vivid over time. The more I hear them, the more, and I've heard them so often, and just reworked, songs over and over, just from, mixing and recording over there, just the dozens and dozens of times that I've heard them, and it's always new. It's got this element of always, there's always something in there I didn't catch before, and but when I found out today about that, about after all these years that those are real people, and that just made it so much more impactful, and little things like that. And I don't know, I think I mentioned that, the thing I feel most is gratitude about, just when I look back on it, like all those years there, just how rare it was to have that group of people up there, just everybody bringing what they brought, nobody standing out more than any other one, and just some really phenomenally talented people up there. And it was all just very, very equal all the time, and Tamra was just, I made that joke, Ronnie, I'm kind of holding you to account for keeping the name Leonard Skinner from being spoken at the Philosophical Research Society up there, cutting that bit out. But I think my favorite thing I've told Ronnie about was one of my favorite memories up there is we would play so often, and I waited for years up there. I grew up being a guitar player, so I played years and years of guitar, and I did a little piano and a little this, a little that, But there were so many guitar players up there. The house was bristling with guitar players. I never got to play. So finally, the first time after years, I pick up a guitar, plug it in, and start playing. And Tamra took about 2-3 notes, and she just looked up. She's like, "Knock off that Leonard Skinner shit," totally as a joke. But that's exactly what I was doing, and I didn't realize that until later. I'm like, well, at first I was just like, "What the hell is she talking?" And no, that's exactly what I was playing. That's exactly. She just saw right through to the core, and it hit me so much because that's what I grew up on. I grew up listening to that stuff, since I was a kid in school and like all the time. So it just came out, and she saw it in 1 second. She saw all the way through in 1 second. She was that insightful and sharp and and fearsome. But I don't think she would have seen herself as fearsome, but everybody else that saw her did, And it was I just felt so lucky to be up there, and just sort of rotating cast of characters over the decade and everything. Just all these people bringing this really beautiful things, and it was always a warm environment for it, and it was just conducive. And no matter what it was, whether it was a film or whether you guys were working on books or anything, it always worked, And it was always just a very welcome, warm place up there. I just feel so grateful for it. Just everybody I've met up there. But Tamra, she was she led it all. She led from the front. Yeah, it's just inspiring to be around. And that's just the music part of it. There was so much more, obviously, that everybody else knows, but that was just on the music side of it. That was so impactful for me, to be around that. Yeah, and I'm always, I don't know, there's not many days that go by where it doesn't come to mind. Yeah, I'm always grateful for you guys. Still, and yeah, thanks, Ronnie.
Thank you, man. You were our engineer too.
Yeah. And I guess I could just finish by saying, I just if I had to recount all the things we worked on, I helped with the music stuff and recording and then the stuff with the musical, and then film stuff, whatever the projects were. We had so many things and met so many people up there. But I think my favorite part of my most treasured memory of all these years, it's been like 15 or so since I've known you guys, or 16 maybe. My favorite part it was eating Thai food, watching Laker games, and I never watched sports like ever, but that was like the best part of all of the time that I spent up there, because it was like, everybody was out or left or whatever, and we just, it was just very quiet time, just cats and a TV and just nonstop cracking jokes. Like, she was just nonstop comedian. So that was the part that that sticks with me the most. I remember that more than any of the work that we did up there. That was truly, yeah, and that was just amazing. So I'm just grateful for it all the time.
Well, Phoenix, you give me a segue, and I've got to go meet up with my 96-year-old dad for dinner, so I'm not going to be able to stick along for a long time. So I'll just add something. So Ronnie and I have probably logged, I'm going to guess, hundreds and hundreds of philosophical hours with him, me, and Tamra. Not doing music together, although we did play a little. Uh, and Ronnie, I think, knows this. I love Tamra and Ronnie so much and spending time with them so much, especially at the house up there. I endured a like debilitating cat allergy to go over to their house and spend hours and hours with them. And I would be fighting the urge to rub my eyes and touch my face but I wouldn't want it to end. I wouldn't want to leave. Um, and it would revolve around everything from current events to past lives, and it was always just so enthralling. And all the while I was having the time of my life, intellectually and spiritually, I was in physical agony because of the cat allergies. So you mentioned the cats, Phoenix. You might have loved watching the Laker games with the cats, but it was my least favorite thing about my relationship with Tamra. And it was worth it. It was worth it.
No doubt.
Margaret.
Yes, sir.
I'm feeling you because we're getting everybody that hung out here are the initial speakers here, and you have known us the longest. Margaret was Tamra's bass teacher before there was a band.
You
And I have to
know,
also say, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I got to say, I'm going to
yeah,
embarrass you that when
oh,
this happened last year, Margaret was amazing. You know, she moved in with me, and she was taking me to the hospital. And I remember when Tamra came to in the ICU, and she saw Margaret and I standing together. She said, "Grit, so now you're Ronnie's nanny." And she
well,
was. She helped me get through the most horrible time of my life.
that was terrible for both of us. Um, I've been racking my brains all day, or rather, since you mentioned doing this live stream about what I would share or what I would not share. And I've been feeling very selfish about my memories. Um, Not only that, finding words to describe the experiences, I've been at a loss for that. But one of the things that stuck out of my mind, um, maybe before rehearsal or after rehearsal, and Phoenix would be there and I'd be there, and she would be very nurturing, and she would just put bowls of vegetable soup in front of us. And I just remember that in that shared experience with Phoenix, I think he might agree that it was a very delightful experience. It was we were content and we were happy, and um, it was just a very loving, generous thing that she would do. And I don't know, something about that just sticks out in my mind.
Yeah,
Just,
very nurturing. Yeah, I agree,
yeah,
Mark. That was great.
I missed those bowls of soup. But as far as knowing Tamara, I don't know how to describe those intimate moments, those moments where, there weren't a crowd of people or, a bunch of musicians in the room. There are moments that stick out in my mind, like maybe she'd be gingerly bending over a plant or a leaf and tenderly taking that leaf in her hand and just smiling, just this beautiful smile, like so pleased. um, I don't know. She was just very amazing with living creatures and living things, and definitely amazing with people. I guess I was a lot of trouble too when I was younger. It's a lot of trouble for a lot of people, because I was constantly lost. And being in the studio, one of the moments that sticks out in my mind is being in the studio with Ronnie, Tamra, um, Tia Sprocket and Danette Lee, and just watching the way that Tamra and Tia Sprocket would interact, and the way that Tamra would mimic my bass, like when I start goofing off or noodling, she mimicked the sound that was coming from my bass. It's like we were just communicating on a different level. It was a little silly, but it was just a creative and loving moment because I didn't have I guess really the gall to communicate verbally. It just wasn't in me, and it still really isn't in me. But I think Tamra was able to draw it out in other ways, and I think being in the room with her, especially in a jam session or rehearsal or recording, whatever, even though I couldn't use my voice, I think she helped draw out my bass voice. And if I could just have those moments where I'm right with her vocal. I'm one of those bassists. I'm not really the drummer's bassist. I'm more the vocal bassist. And I felt more akin to her when I could do that. Which, probably explains why I'm so sloppy as a bass player.
Still my favorite.
But yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. I couldn't choose truly any specific memories except for those that I see in my head. I see her elegance. I see her gentle and kind way. I see how she was very nurturing. I could see how she have her sense of humor and her wit. Always witty, always quick, but always super intelligent, and always with something to say. Although there are moments where I caught her not saying or speaking right where she was at the tip of it, and I always wondered why. But I guess she knew when and when not to verbalize whatever was going through her mind. Anyway, I'm rambling, but yeah, that's all I got. Somebody take it away.
I want to tell a brief grit story. Tamra took bass lessons from Grit. It's the only time that I ever saw her really apply herself to learning her instrument. And every time when she would finish the lesson, she would ask Margaret to play. And so Grit would do these amazing, like flamenco style slap bass stuff. I mean, really great stuff. And one day Tamra said to me, I don't really care about the lessons. I just take them so that I can sit there and listen to her play afterwards.
Sneaky.
Yeah, it's bringing up sneaky. I guess we should mention that Tamra had a way of tricking Grit into playing gigs and recording with us and stuff because Grit was kind of shy and ornery. And Tamra would say things like, hey, could you help us take our gear? And then we'd be like, oh, the bass player didn't show up. Do you think you could play? Like she always would trick her into being in the band.
And I still have those memories of going up to your house when there'd be people everywhere. And I was just so terrified. I was just like, oh my God, who are all these people and what's going on? And just a slew of musicians. Some were in the pool, some were in the house, It was hard for me. And then, yeah, I think there was a time when you said, oh, we need some rough bass lines. And I'm like, okay, but you had a whole crowd of people in there who probably could have laid down a bass line for you, but I wasn't thinking. And so I'd go in there terrified and they'd play for you guys.
I remember in those parties always seeing you, like she would wind up next to you. Like you'd go off somewhere by yourself, and then I'd be like, "Where's Tamra?" And she'd be sitting next to you smoking a cigarette.
Yes, yes, yeah. That was those were great moments. I mean, she'd probably make a snide remark or a crack joke or whatever. And, you know, I do remember sitting with her at your parties, just observing. I I don't remember this lady's name, but I remember I was sitting with Tamara, and I think you were probably looking for her, and we saw you, but then you got cornered by some woman. And she was up in your face, and Tamara just starts laughing so hard. We were laughing. And I'm like, "Aren't you gonna go rescue him?" She's like, "Nah, he can handle it." But you were just like frozen. You were frozen against the wall practically. But yeah,
I
she wasn't.
remember.
She wasn't worried.
One of the things that I love about Tamra is, as you've probably noticed, when people talk about her, they just smile. You know, like this is a sad occasion, actually, but we all start smiling and glowing as we talk about her, and that's who she was.
She was. She was a very radiant being, um, and actually very sentient. Although she could, I think, mask that pretty well. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey guys, I got a jet. Hey, it's been great meeting all of you that I haven't seen before, and uh, Lita,
Hi, Dee.
Phoenix, Brett,
You're up next, Lita.
Bonnie. Hey man, love you guys.
Right.
Great
Hey,
to see you,
man.
Dick.
We'll be
Take it
playing
easy.
music soon, okay?
Sounds good, man.
Good.
All right, bye
All
bye.
right. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Well, I feel like first time I met Tamra, I thought she had like x-ray vision. It felt like she could see right through me. Like she could see to my core. Like she could see through all the bullshit. It was very intimidating. It was like, what just happened? I remember I was dog sitting and house sitting across the street for Courtney and Peter. And Courtney emailed me and was like, "Hey, go across the street and meet Tamra and Lucid. I think you guys are gonna hit it off. They're really cool, you know." And she sent a link to your music. I heard a song. I think it was Dad, your dad, or what? It's called Dad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, I was so blown away by that song. And I remember going over there and it was like a it was like a dream. It was just like out of a movie, you know, walking up the driveway to this like beautiful home with like all these cats and the the garage and with the carpet, and it just was the coolest thing. It was just so I was just like, wow, this is so cool. This exists, you know. It just felt like a little oasis, and yeah, and I just remember leaving there, and I got to play with you guys, and it was really fun. And I really felt like I was like you guys were way out of my league. And I was like, I'm classically trained. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And but she was very kind, very supportive, very welcoming. You both were. You both were, but you were also both very cool. You had those sunglasses on, and I was like, oh, like what's going on behind there? And it was just very magical. You were both like very magical to me. And I just remember leaving and being like, what just happened? You know, like, what? That was amazing. Like, what was that? That's like a dream. I think, I think we got high and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'll never forget that. And yeah, Tamara could see through all my bullshit. And I really love her for that. There's things that she said to me that have stayed with me, you know, that are very specific. Um, she didn't like pretty stuff. She didn't like pretty sounding music, you know. What would she call that? La di da or something?
La la.
La
La
la.
la.
She's like, none of that la la stuff. What the fuck is that? So, you know, I don't know if, you know, I don't know if she'd appreciate my music too much, but
That's all right. She can't say anything now.
yeah, exactly.
Are you going to play something for us?
Well, I thought about it. I actually think, I feel like she would like the words to this song. And I often wonder how cool it would have been to like have her rendition of it. Like she could do whatever she wanted with it, and like just maybe if she liked the lyrics, just apply the lyrics. I would love to hear what that would sound like. But I was just gonna say this. I do remember this one time. Two things I want to share about Tamra. Well, no, three. Is how she would pet her cats. I was always in awe of how she would pet her cats. It was just so intuitive, and like she always used the back of her hand. It was very gentle and intuitive, and it was so pure. It was like so loving and pure, and I was just really in awe of that. And yeah, she was always smiling. Even when she was pissed, she was smiling, which I really. And then this one time, you guys had like a Christmas party, and there were all these people there, and there was this one guy who was quite the character. He was like really drunk, and he was like kind of a bully, and he was talking about Howard Zen. Is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was going on and on about him, and he was just like saying like just being really, I don't know why, but he was just really being a bully with me. And I remember Tamra stuck up for me. I'll never forget that. And she just like shut him down. And that meant a lot to me. And then the other thing I was going to talk about too is Christmas time. We did that music video for the Christmas song. And what was the name of that song? Sorry.
Phoenix, what was the name of that song?
I absolutely do not remember. I remember the video, but I don't remember. I don't remember the name of the tune.
Yeah. Well, I loved that experience because I don't think I told either of you this, but that's what my Christmases felt like when I was a kid. Like I felt so alone.
Yeah.
So to
I
be
think
able
was it called Alone on Christmas Day?
Oh, yeah. I think it was called Alone on Christmas Day. Yeah.
No,
And
it was called Stray.
Oh yeah, but
Yes.
but there's lyrics that say Alone on Christmas Day. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. It's called Strike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just really a great a great moment. It was just to be able to be a part of that music video, and I don't know, it felt cathartic because I felt so alone at Christmas as a kid.
And you got to sing Joan Crawford.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and not many people know that Tamra came up with the idea of doing something called Mommy Dearest the musical. And the guy who made the Mommy Dearest movies, the producer, Frank, he loved the idea. And so he empowered us to do it. And Lita sang the part of Joan brilliantly. And Tamra wrote these hilarious like rock songs, No More Wire Hangers, stuff like that. And unfortunately and understandably, Christina Crawford was upset that we were making fun of her childhood abuse, even though it was supposed to be for charity. And many of the people playing in the band were victims of childhood abuse. And but she shut it all down. But it was really fun, and you can hear it if you search YouTube and you look for Mommy Dearest the musical.
I guess I can play it.
Please.
Okay. So it's called Spirit of the Universe. Maybe where Tamra is now, she likes it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this in. And I'll turn this one off. Okay, cool. Can you hear me? Is that
Yes.
okay? Uh-oh. Let me turn this on. Okay. So I had a hemorrhagic stroke that left me paralyzed on my right side. So I wrote this song while I was in rehab, recovering from that. And yeah, it's called Spirit of the Universe. Is that too loud?
Sounds all right.
That's great.
Spirit of the universe, beloved mother of love, show me how to slow down, show me how to give up the liars in my bloodstream, the thoughts I see outside of me. Show me how to be with you. Show me how to see what's true. Life is good. Life is beautiful. Life is inescapable. Life is joy. So much more than bearable. Life is dancing to the rhythm of my beating heart. I was living an incessant life, rushing towards an internal knowing lie, missing moments that are not so little, missing the feelings that needed care. I hear my heart cry out, learn to listen. The truth is in you, you're not separate from it. You're not alone in this, no one is out to get you. Give all your love, you won't run out, I promise. Life is good. Life is beautiful. Life is inescapable. Life is joy, so much more than bearable. Life is dancing to the rhythm of my beating heart. Life is good, life is good, it's beautiful. Oh, life is dancing to the rhythm of my beating heart.
Beautiful, Lita.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thanks, everyone.
I think she would have loved that song.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's not La La. That's beautiful.
No,
An embodiment of divine love.
That's right. How you doing,
Yeah.
Joe?
I'm trying my best. I need to get a better, I need to get my charger in a minute. And it's 2 it's just 3 a.m. here, but I'm definitely willing to stay till the end, 100%. I back you 100% tonight.
Would you like to say
Massively.
something?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I don't know if it'll be too long. I want to be completely respectful. But I don't know how much to say or how little. Could you interrupt me if I'm going off track or not being respectful? Yeah, is that all right?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, I looked into the world politics with Trump and with Epstein and the Epstein files, and I was thinking to myself, what the fuck is coming out of this? What the fucking hell is what is going wrong with the world? We all know this is happening, and it's coming out. What the fuck do we do about it? And I don't know what was going on, but there was something about Julia Brahmer's work with the occult Sylvia Plath, which I believe Tamra helped publish. She had like an important involvement in it. And there was something about her work, about the occult Sylvia Plath, that was saying something about women being intellectual, being mystics, being involved in the occult. That was that was that was getting validated through Julia's work. And before that, that was just struck off as like she's just this mad woman. She's bonkers. She's crazy. She doesn't know anything. She's just an idiot. And there was so much more to her in a mystical sense. And I can see there's almost the same lineage of Tamra, what she was doing in her work and life as Sylvia Plath. It was following the same journey. Like everyone's a part of this journey. Like even with Mia Zapata with her punk rock music, she was following that same pathway, and she got hammered and lost her life trying to trying to challenge patriarchy and male misogyny in the world. And Tamara was taking that torch and going even further and going beyond rock and roll and feminism, like a world vision. And I wanted to bring something to do with like the UK and how what you're doing is resonating. And I remember seeing like your post on Facebook, and it was like there's this guy he's grieving, and it's like really heartbreaking, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're like grieving so much, and it's like fucking hell, like no friend or anyone can get through to you. You've just got to go with it on your own in isolation and process it all on your own, and no one's going to help you or anything. And signs from Tamara or the universe, or it's just going to work out for you. It's just going to work. And even with this fucking up at the start, it's meant to fuck up. So then everyone lets go of their ego and all control. So we surrender. So then you hear beautiful music from your friend who's channeling the divine, and we just step aside and let it all work how Tamara would want it to work. And I don't know if I need to leave it there. And I just see something in the UK that's bubbling up to do with like punk rock, with rock and roll, British. But I believe British rock and roll died in 1995 when Richie Edwards from the Manic Street Preachers, he died. He killed himself, and it's to do with transgender and gay rights. And there was even a song that they wrote, like if I could recite some of it, he was like basically saying like for sale. Same dumb cunt, same dumb questions. All virgins, listen. All virgins are liars, honey, and I don't know what I'm scared of. Or what I even enjoy, darling, get money, but nothing turns out like you want it to. And in these damn streets, I pity you can find anything. For 200, anyone can conceive a god on video. He's a boy. You want a girl so cut off his cock. tie his hair in bunches, fuck him, Carter Ritter if you want, and he killed himself because of that. And there was such to do with gender, to do with non-binary qualities, all the shit we're fucking fighting today that's trying to get smashed down and destroyed. And I believe what Tamra and Julia and what you're doing, because I don't see Tamra as just one person. I see like you and Tamra as it's one soul within two bodies. That's how I see it. And I feel that there's so much more going on. I was becoming a therapist 4 years ago. It was going brilliantly. I was getting involved in like the British Transpersonal Association psychology, and then I wrote an article to do with indigenous and transpersonal therapies and mental health, and networking with all people internationally. All turned to shit. I had a spiritual crisis, ended up in hospital, had ECT 10 times in twice a week. I was trying to kill myself, tying ligatures, everything. And then after the past 3 or 4 years, after being like a zombie on psychoactive medication, I'll be coming out the other side. And your work or what's been happening with Tamra is bubbling something up that's changing my life. And I've even started a fucking band. Like I wasn't mixing or socializing on leaving the house with anyone. I just with my dad in a coffee shop. Started a band with another guy who is in a supported living accommodation for mental health. He wanted to start a band. Then another guy who seems like a musical genius called Sammy, who's got a voice that sounds like Chris Cornell and Kurt Cobain combined, which is breathtaking. He's fucked up on psychiatric drugs, and and we're trying to get a band together. I wanted to get a band called Electric Dreams, and then there's conflicts around that because I think I'm trying to channel something to do with anarchic feminist punk, and I'm getting blowback with it all, and it's really fucking me off. Like I'm trying to do it with, I tried to get Paulie to join our call, and he's being a complete prick about it. And like, I don't understand what the fuck's going on. It's just weird, but I know it's supposed to happen because that has to happen for me to feel like shit or angry for something else to open another door. It's like whenever things get blocked and it's not working, that means another door is going to open for us, and trusting that's going to happen. And I feel really honored to be here. Like I just feel like a nobody, and I'm just channeling stuff. Like I felt so overwhelmed with fucking emotion. I thought, fuck me, am I blocking this process because I'm not expressing all this deep sadness and hurt, and I'm not even involved personally. And I'm thinking, is it my stuff or is it somebody else's or is it everybody's that I'm carrying, containing all that emotion and feeling, and not knowing what to do with it. And then I was hoping like there's something to do like a zine or a magazine that I wanted you to like direct or be the chair of, and help bring it into the UK or the US, and somehow create a dialogue of what Tamra represents and what she does and what she has done. And because there's just so much going on, because I was fucked with the trans person. So they fucking hated me and stigmatized me for being mentally ill, for being bonkers or manic or bipolar or whatever you want to call it. And it was the Gnosticism and the esoteric studies, that community with like Miguel, Connor and yourself, that was opening doors for me. It was like, and Manly, there's something there that it's more loving somehow. I don't know, or to do with like the feminine, the divine feminine. I don't know. There's something there, and it's really it's opening all these doors, and it seems to be working out. My life's changing. Like even the synchronicity I had earlier, like when one of your colleagues was talking about how Tamara would have a bass lesson, and like she would just go to the bass and to hear the bass playing. I'm not even fucking joking. I had a singing lesson today, and I was enjoying it. I was thinking, fuck me, I just want to hear her sing and just have a one-to-one concert. And fuck the singing. I just want to hear you with your beautiful voice. I'll never be able to sing like that in a million years. And it's just beautiful. And I was just thinking Tamra must have felt exactly the same way. And it's just I just don't know what's happening. And this band stuff's happening, and I don't even know how to fucking play an instrument. And now I can play an instrument. I don't know how to sing, and I'm starting to sing, and it's all coming together. and it's beautiful. It's just so beautiful, and I just really hope whatever's going on in the US, and I just feel like I want to really get like angry or pushy, like I want everyone to like think what is Tamra's legacy and what are we doing in terms of action to keep it going. That it somehow we're all grieving and feeling sad and feel this tremendous loss, but then it's not a loss. It's an opportunity to keep moving forward and for it to keep growing and reach new generations. That it's ongoing. It's not stopping. You know.
That was beautiful, Joe.
Thank you.
Really
I've
beautiful.
tried really hard, 100%.
Yeah, no,
Everything.
that was perfect. That
I
was
haven't
really,
even slept for two or three days. I haven't.
no, you sounded quite coherent to me.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Lake, would you like to?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I wrote a little bit of a kind of like a prayer. Actually, it's very much in the spirit of what Joe just said in a way that I wanted to start off with before I share this personal essay that was actually sitting in a drawer on paper for 11 years, and the first person to actually hear it was Ronnie. I was inspired to read it to him over the phone recently, and it was the essay I'm going to go into was written during one of my darkest moments. So anyway, I'll just start with a prayer. I can't count myself among the souls fortunate enough to have known Tamra during her time incarnate, but I can count myself as one of the multitude of souls who's been transformed simply with the knowledge that Tamra even existed at all. May those numbers grow for all eternity with all the rage and all the love of divinity boiled to its very essence. And I just want to preface this essay by saying that it's based on a true story that's still true to this day. And the essay is called A Love Letter to the Divine, which was written in 2015. I've evolved in here. My concept of love is no longer just a concept. It's a feeling and a terror in my heart warming with an ache all at once. Love is real. Through its abstraction, it is absolutely real. In great pain and fear, we discover love. In the barrel of a gun or the flash of an eye, we see it too. A man thrust a gun to my skull, and yet he felt the ache of love in his weary heart. His eyes watered in fury and anguish before the blow was delivered, as if to ask why I failed to see his heart for all its soft fury. Why don't you see me loving you? A man acts violently from hurt and is almost always scorned and abandoned. But teach him to see the crucifying ache in his own soul and allow him to reel in terror at all he has lost. That is the soul's return to the cross of the heart, more than any punishment mankind may deliver. Love exists in extremes. At its core is our greatest cry of pain, then as well the womb's return. We cry out in the dark room, and then we feel the lust for union that arrives in the splendor of our newfound innocence. Reduced to childhood in our agony, we seek a maturity we did not know existed before. We cannot experience love in solitude, but we learn to yearn for it with the might of men rushing to battle. Love for God or nature does not compare to love for a man. What I have seen in men's eyes is real, as though it were a hand on a breast or a thigh. When they know the last hour of our innocence is near in every passing day, then they know the secret to a woman's blushing heart. Will the world change in a heartbeat, or in drudgery and pain? It changes in heartbeats and flashes of reason, inspired by tremendous love. It has changed before, and it will change once again. I've removed myself from my previous life and from common experience. Somewhat detached, I see my old life under the cool surveil of reason. I was so unhappy with my possessions, my paltry routine, my apartment, and my few personal ties. I did not fulfill myself, so these things did not fulfill me. Nothing and nobody can make you feel whole when your heart is damp and worn from neglect. I open in pain to receive love, and it meets me gladly, like a flower opening to the sun. Nations and races of men have been moved by great love. Its power is real. It cannot change the night to morning, but it can move a man to catch his breath. Isn't that enough? What I have learned in here is the feeling of great love. Let me not forget that.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Can I add something to that, Ronnie?
Yes, of course.
What it sounds like to me, and that's why it's so meaningful and beautiful. It sounds like to me that what Lake was channeling was what Tamra felt in words when she first met you, when you thought you needed rescuing, and she needed rescuing. That's what she felt. She's channeling what Tamra felt at that moment of meeting you, and you need to absorb that and take that all in.
I agree. Yeah, that when the first time that Lake read that to me, it brought tears to my eyes because it captured that moment so much. So yes, Joe, I agree with you.
And it's so effing courageous, so fucking courageous of Lake to do that. It's so fucking. I don't know what Lake's been through, but the bravery that's taken today to do that is phenomenal. And I reckon everyone should almost give her a clap or some sort of respect because no one else has done that today.
Thank you.
Feel free. I agree. It was
Thank you.
beautiful. He really set the tone. Lefray, are you still with us?
I think she left.
Aw.
The
Okay.
pain was too much. The pain was too much. I think.
Dalal,
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Joe, are you on my side of the world as well? I'm in Ireland. It's 3 a.m. here.
Ireland, cool.
Yeah.
I'm 50 miles south of London in a town called Bexhill. So it's next to
Okay.
Hastings, and Hastings was where Aleister Crowley lived the last years of his life before he died. So I don't know
Huh.
if that's got any
Interesting.
significance to it. And I was born in Hastings as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
but
I'll get
Ireland.
into it, Ronnie. I'll introduce myself, I suppose. Um, yeah, my name is Dalal. I'm originally from Saudi Arabia. I've been living in Ireland since 2015. I'm a refugee here in Ireland, essentially. How I met Tamra, and by the way, I did not prepare anything. I decided to go with the flow, as you suggested, Ronnie. But what I'm about to share is really the first time that I speak to it openly, aside from Ronnie and a bunch of therapists. Uh, I had a near-death experience this past March 2026, and Tamara was present. As I began to recover and piece myself back together, the experience was so profound that I spent weeks upon weeks going to different therapists and counselors to try and convince them that I needed to go to a mental hospital. Something I forgot to mention, I'm naturally sensitive and I'm also a practicing magician. Anyway, what happened in March, with the help of Tamara, I realized that I'd been having like reverse flashbacks. What I thought were the daydreams of a very traumatized child were actually visions of the future. It's been quite a profound time. It quite literally drove me insane, or maybe to the brink or to the edge of insanity at some points. But Tamra has been here, quite strongly present. And the more I recognize her presence since May, when Ronnie discovered who it was that I was communing with?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was late May. Her presence has become even more pronounced, even more potent. Just a few days ago, I was on the phone with Ronnie, just sending him text messages and updating him about my day. And it's just so funny because Tamara answered my prayer as I was feeling extremely down in the dumps, and I said, please, I need a good laugh. And within hours, my housemates and I were laughing hysterically over something that I did to do with weed. And I just knew in my head that was Tamra. But so I have a sister in her that I never met. And I'm just now for the first time sharing about that with the world. And I know she'd want that to be shared. When I was speaking about Tamra and I'd made a conscious effort to not read into the comments or not watch videos or get to know Tamra from other people's perspectives, but to recognize her and perceive her on my own, independent of any outside noise. And I've been going to Ronnie's like, does this ring true to you? Because this is what I'm hearing or seeing, and this is the message that's been coming through. And so far, Ronnie hasn't said that I needed to go to the loony bin. So he's been a powerful, powerful ally with me as well as I go through what I'm going through. Yeah, I think that's it for now, because I feel like I dumped a lot.
That was so cool that you did that. I want
Thank
to
you.
add something to it. Tamra has been demonstrating that death is not the end, and even as somebody who has studied this all my life, she changed my sense of reality significantly by doing these things. And it's sad to me that all of us should think that this is natural. When I go out and I do podcasts and I talk to people about these things, even the most skeptical people start talking to me about, oh, well, you know, when my grandma died, she came to me and she told me this. And it occurs to me that because our society has demonized this thing that is natural to all indigenous people, we see, for instance, in psychiatry how it's been pathologized. We see that Christianity has said that if you're speaking to spirits, you're evil, you're a necromancer, you're being deceived. And this has severed a very important connection that human beings need. And so this seems to be something that Tamra is really concerned with. And it's not surprising because she was interested in these matters all her life. And is now doing whatever she can to demonstrate and to champion people who are potentially important creators and leaders, and like her, people who were traumatized and who society has sought to silence, but who can find their voices and bring hope to others. And that's what she accomplished. And so what I want to do is I'm going to tell you, in case anybody has not heard it, just briefly, the story of what she did to me, among many things that really made me have to realize that this was very real, her presence. So when Tamra was alive, as her friends can attest to, she had this large fan, this 3.5-foot plastic fan in the kitchen that she would leave on day and night. And part of that was because as a smoker, and she smoked a lot of weed, she would like to keep the air fresh. And I had read on Amazon that this was a dangerous fan, that it could start fires. It was a cheap fan after all. And so I became kind of a neurotic housefrau about it. And I would tell her, please turn off the fan when you leave the room. Please don't leave it on all night. You're going to burn the house down. And she ignored me. But it got so annoying that eventually she gave me a nickname. And her nickname for me was Mildred. So she would say, Mildred, okay, fine. Yeah, I hear you. Not that she would turn it off. She would just go, okay, Mildred. Now, she never, ever said Mildred in front of anybody else. She wouldn't want to humiliate me. It was just between us. After she passed, about 2-3 weeks in, I had an amazing liminal kind of soul fusion experience with her in the week after she passed. It helped me to deal with all the things that I had to, like funerals and cremation and such. But that wasn't enough for me. And I'd begun to receive messages from people, many people who didn't know each other, saying, I had a dream and Tamra told me to tell you this. And they would sometimes tell me the same things, people that didn't know each other. And when that was happening, I thought, well, I want a sign. And one day I was really pathetic and miserable. And I said, please do something. Like, show me, that you're there. Well, her cat, first of all, perked up like she was called and then ran to the chair that Tamra used to sit in the kitchen. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And then that goddamn fan turned on all by itself. And I went and looked, and there wasn't a loose cord, there wasn't a timer, there was no explanation for that fan turning on. Next day, I told a friend of mine about it, and he said, "Oh, that's Tamra, the sense of humor. I mean, she's teasing you." And when I went downstairs, fan's on again. About 2 months into this, I get a message from somebody who says, I'm a clairvoyant, I'm not a medium, I don't normally do these things, but Tamra is talking to me, I think. Will you please read my notes and tell me, am I crazy or is this Tamra? One of the messages was, please tell Ronnie to tell Mildred that I love her.
Too much of a coincidence to be a coincidence.
Exactly. And so much her sense of humor and her sweetness as well.
Yeah.
So Nancy, would you like to say something? Because Nancy is the person who delivered that message to me. Are you there, Nancy? Hopefully Nancy is dealing with her new grandchild right now.
Hi,
Well,
Ronnie.
Oh, you are there. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, yeah. Can you give me 10 minutes?
Of course.
I want to finish something I'm dealing with right now. So I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Who would like to step in here?
I could.
All right, Zach.
10 minutes sounds exactly the right amount. Can everyone see this book here? It's Manly P. Hall, The Story of Healing, the Divine Art. I'm not very large on my perspective. I don't know if anyone can see it. Anyway, that book asserted its presence last week. I must have put it there myself, but it suddenly showed up on the coffee table. I just like to read. This will probably take about 5 minutes. And this will serve the purpose of what I should have said at the eulogy. I wasn't really in the right place for that. And I feel like I'm in a much better place now, and I hope you'll all enjoy this. Before I met Tamra and Ronnie a few years ago, the phrase punk metaphysics had been in my head for a little while, and I may not be the first. I even had a t-shirt made with that on the front and my website address on the back. I hadn't drawn up any plans. It was more like catching on to a viral connection. Which reminds me, career lawyer Daniel Sheehan, who's been with us at least since the Pentagon Papers case in 1971, has recently claimed the ETs are using a form of stem cell technology to incorporate neural tissue in the wiring of their telepathically controlled spaceships, and that's why they move so rapidly. Interesting times. First paragraph. I was born into metaphysics, grew up in the New Thought belief cloud relating to that way of being, the same way any kid relates to his or her parents' religion, something familial to be bargained with and resisted and outrun. I lived that way for years and years as I wrestled with all the other ugly realities life had for me, trying to learn to like hardcore punk and relate to all the love denial and clever cynicism and anguish and deadpan fatalism as my standard of normalcy, since that was what the real world had for me, and I needed to stay afloat. This fraught perspective led me to a few years of intense psychedelic infusion, we'll call it, which led me immediately back to my roots in the belief cloud, not made of scriptures or indoctrination, but what I call first principles, an essential conception of the inherent sacredness of human existence as proven by its multifarious nature. Last paragraph. No, almost. No, sorry, about the middle. The Schrodinger's cat experiment proves our perceived reality depends on our perception. And when you change the things you look at, the things you notice change. I think that's Wayne Dyer, though he may have lifted it from Rilke. Hypochondria and miracle cures operate on the same principle of tricking dormant power into effect, as did Tamra and Ronnie's first meeting. Their directed action in forming up the riot grrrl scene and Tamra's unexpected Facebook friend request sent to me for no better reason than sacred geometry, which is what it takes for things to work out naturally. I did an interview with Tamra and called it Punk Metaphysics. Ronnie seemed to like it too. No gods, no masters, he commented, and I started writing a book about my magpie approach a few months later. Should be done in a few weeks, and Tamra Lucid and Ronnie Pontiac were integral to the event of its creation as respected role models appearing as if by magic. I guess every school of thought has to offer a form of consolation to attract followers, a higher power to aim our faith at. Here's the last paragraph. Punk metaphysics has to work with everything that comes its way. MK Ultra, political upheaval, systemic racism and sexism and classism, the whole mess of it, all of it, brokenheartedness, going to the dentist, mortality, hard science, nuclear missiles, the possibility humanity was created by extraterrestrials who may or may not be angels or even real in the way we understand reality, and more. And the price is the bounty, the prize, pardon me, is the bounty of existence, all the forms it has, all the levels of possibility going unseen every time you focus on one of them more than the others, then returning to primacy as soon as you notice. The truth is always moving. The truth is a fool's game. That's the gift of Schrodinger's reality. Don't forget to laugh. Go get 'em, Tamra. Thanks for letting me join the cast. Ronnie. Ta-da!
Thanks, Zach.
Can I jump in real quick? I just have to say that was an amazing thing. It reminded me of Hunter S. Thompson. What a way
Thank
with
you.
words and capturing the spirit of something. Thanks for reading that.
Thanks very much.
Edie.
Hi. I was just looking at my notes and realizing there's a little bit missing, but that's how it's been going. That's okay. So I had 9 experiences around the time of Tamra's liberation. Tamra and I had met because I was a librarian at the Philosophical Research Society after Tamra and Ronnie had left from 1999 to 2014. And so when Ronnie had put out the call online to see if anybody wanted to read an early draft of her book about Manly Hall and their relationship, I jumped at the chance. So the first time I met Tamra was at their house after they had read my notes. And the second and final time I met Tamra was 2 days before her passing on July 20th. So I thought Ronnie would appreciate the 2s. 2 meetings, 2 days before her passing. So I'm not going to tell you all 9 stories right now, but I would like to tell one. And then after show like an under 1 minute video, which is kind of the starfish part, and maybe a couple of photographs. Okay, so the story is, and this story takes place before and after Tamra's liberation time, in the days the days before and after. So May 2nd of last year was the first, oh no, last spring. I walked out my door, crossed the road, I bent down and I picked up an owl wing that it was small, must have been from a young owl that fell and maybe got gobbled by a coyote or something. So I picked up this wing and I brought it into my altar and I put it there and started thinking about owl medicine. In other words, spiritual teachings. Sorry about all the dinging. I have people in their 90s called my parents who are having some issues. Anyway, so I started thinking about this kind of spiritual teachings of owls and owl medicine. And then May 2nd was the first time I saw an owl in our trees, really close up. So I started to photograph the owls, and every single day between June 4th and June 12th, I was recording on my phone these incredible beings until I was so enamored with what was happening that I found myself on June 12th inside Sammy's camera, because I could no longer squander this intimate kind of access to these owls with kind of subpar photography. So like Tamra, I am a photographer of nature and have been taking pictures since I was a teenager, but this was going to be my kind of first good digital camera. I'm sorry, I'm sweating. It's so hot in here. Anyway, so I got a Canon body and I got this lens that was 100 to 400 millimeters. Got home, it was a beautiful lens, but I needed the lens to reach a little bit longer. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to exchange the lens. And so this is the very convoluted stuff is kind of the point of the story. So all through June and July, I'm going back and forth to Sammy's camera a million times and I rented 3 different Canon lenses, different lengths. I did my little experiments. I rented a lens called Sigma, which was 150 millimeters to 600 meters. And so they're being very gracious about letting me take all this time to figure out what I want to do, which lens I want to exchange. So I think about it. And now it's July 18th. And, oh, no, it's still June 25th and 26th. I go back and I say, okay, I've got my heart set on the Sigma. I know other people are saying I should get a longer lens, but my Qigong teacher, Henry, who's a photographer, has recommended it. And I think I'll get, okay, so I go, I'm ready to buy it. No, it's at another store. And what's more, Sigma is discontinuing it. So there are issues. Okay. I don't have time. I'm going to just go home, come back when I have more time. So I go back on the 18th. At this point, I don't know that Tamra's in the hospital. And, oh yeah, that's when I said I'm going to go back. So I don't buy anything. Then I have a long conversation with Ronnie the next day, which is the 19th. And the 20th, Silas and I pick up Ronnie, take him to Cedars. That's the last time I saw Tamra, the second time. And 22nd, that's the Liberation Day. And Ronnie and I again had a long conversation the 24th. Oh, and by the way, of the 9 stories of my experiences with Tamra, each one of them happens after I talk to Ronnie. She's not kind of coming through unless you're there, Ronnie. She's giving me messages right on the heels every time of seeing you or talking to you. I didn't know this. Well, I saw you at the hospital. Anyway, so by the 25th, I'm thinking, okay, these guys have been great about letting me keep these lenses, not give their lens back. Let me go in. So I go in, decide I'm going to just kind of take care of this. It's the 25th. I drive over to Sam's. I park the car. I open the door, and there's like this kind of light bulb experience, and the whole atmosphere changes outside, everywhere. And there's golden particles. And this has happened to me before. For not much, maybe just a couple times. Very kind of predestined and mystical things that are about to happen. And the golden particles are following me into Sammy's down the ramp. And this is not an everyday thing for me to have this kind of phenomenon. Okay. So I go up to the counter and I see, a guy, and then I see somebody next to him who I did not recognize, which was odd because I have been there a million times in the last month. And so the guy that I knew says, okay, I know that you really wanted to get the Sigma, but I have another lens that's also 150 millimeters to 600 millimeters. Huh. I said, why didn't I know about that? I guess the rental department didn't have that lens. And he looked at me and he said, yeah, it's called a Tamron. Tamron. A Tamron. And it might even be better than the Sigma. I said, oh, really? So it's a heavier lens and it has better color saturation, I think. So I just about fell over when he said this lens is called a Tamron. And so I start to tell the love story of Ronnie and Tamra to the two guys behind the desk. And I find out that the guy I didn't recognize is actually the Sigma rep, the lens that I was maybe going to get. And with tears coming down his face, he said, no, you get the Tamra. That's what I did. So my takeaway from Tamra is get the heavier lens and use it for heavy stuff. Use it for weighty things and deep things, for depth and for richness of color. And so the video I want to show you right now is the Tamron's maiden voyage, videotaping one of the owls, if Chelsea can walk me through how we do that.
Yeah, are you using a PC?
It's an Apple laptop.
Okay. Well, just tell me this before I whip out my Apple laptop to check. At the bottom of your screen, do you see something that says share kind of in the middle? If that's not where it is, I can whip out my laptop and look at, or maybe Ronnie can tell us
I
where
see
the
it.
share button.
It's a square with a little arrow in it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so just click that and it'll ask you what you want to share. And you click share. And then when you're done, you just at the top, there'll be a little thing and you'll click stop sharing when you're done. Okay, and we'll see whatever's on your screen.
I'm going to see, well, or when I click share, is it going to give me choices like my,
it'll ask you which screen. So if you have double monitors, it'll ask you which one. But if you're on a laptop, there's only one. So you'll just have to pick that one.
Okay. And then I can sort of make it full screen after I select it. Oh, wait.
Yes.
Find where you guys went.
If you only have a single monitor and you're working from a laptop, it might be difficult because you can't. I
think it's going to be okay. Let me I lost Zoom for a second.
Okay.
Well, I mean, just the visual. Oh, there it is. Okay, great. Okay, so let me say, where did share go?
I don't know if it will let you choose another tab when you only have monitors, what I'm worried about.
Sharing is not turned on. You can request sharing for this meeting. Send request.
Oh, okay. Ronnie, you'd need to do that.
I got it.
Settings.
Okay, should work now.
Okay, so let me see. Share. Entire screen, desktop 1. Okay, and then let me do this. Enter full screen. Wait a second. Yes, okay, so.
If you're running into the problem that I thought you might be, where it won't show you a different tab that you can share, if it's on YouTube,
You're not seeing my screen.
No.
I also have a iPad I could hold up, which is going to be clunky. if we can't figure it out, which I'm willing to be clunky, unless you have another idea.
Okay. So I guess two clunky options. One is hold up the iPad to the camera, and the
Mhm.
other one would be if it's on YouTube or something, share the link in the chat and we could
Oh, it's
watch
not.
it. Okay.
Should I put it? I mean, is there a quick way to put it on there?
I think your best option might be to hold up the iPad to the camera, and that way we'll hear it and see it.
Sure. Okay, let me do that. Okay. Let me move this. Let me get you guys back. Okay, so let's see. I wonder if I'm gonna get kicked from the windows. Oh, but look at this. This is so cool too. Well, I'm telling you this. Camera. Crazy. Let's see what's this. Okay. Can you guys see that so far?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not going to be gorgeous like this lens, but whatever. Here we go.
Kind of like life.
Tamra would have loved that.
That's my starfish thing, because I thought when I was playing around with the lens, I thought, it made me really think of her. And then look at this, Ronnie. Let's see. Oh, here's another photograph. I'm just showing one other one that I thought she would like.
Wow. That's gorgeous.
And then the other thing I was going to show you is, look at the sticker that they put on the box that Tamron.
Wow.
And then every time you take a picture of it, that's not it. Oh yeah, it changes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's cool. So I have that sticker on the box. So that's the little story that I wanted to share, is that during that time period, I was, for whatever reason, deliberating a lot. And I guess it was because Tamra wanted me to get the lens that would inspire me with her.
That was beautiful. Thank you. She would have loved that. She loved owls.
Oh, I have so many pictures of them. It's incredible.
Nancy? Are you with us?
Hi.
Hey, Nancy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I've just had one of the most intense days of my life. Ronnie, as you did last year on the 22nd. I don't know what it is with today's date, but wow, is all I can say. Yeah, so where do I start, Ronnie? It's like, what a story. I don't really know where to start at this point. I didn't know Tamara in the body, which sounds really strange for me to say that, but I met her on Facebook. she had sent me a message on Facebook. I had a post about Manly P. Hall, and she said, I wanted you to know that I wrote a book about Mr. Hall. You might be interested in it. I got it. I absolutely loved it. I read it in one night. I was making arrangements with Tamra to do a live stream for our lodge. And it just, we couldn't get it together, and it never happened. And I continued talking to Tamra, but it was a very casual relationship. We were friends, but not really close friends, and we just had this online communication. So as Ronnie said, I started right after she passed. I started getting messages from Tamra like right away, and I started talking to her. Oh, I wanted to show. I always had a photograph of Tamra and Ronnie when I was talking to Tamra, and this was before I knew about Tamra was into STARFISH as well. Look at the photo. Look at the folder on the top. Can you see it? It's a starfish. And this was before I knew about starfishes, and she was into them. So that was one of the most amazing things. But anyway, so right after she passed, she started talking to me, and I'm not really into being a psychic. I'm a theosophist, and I've been clairvoyant my whole life, but I kind of shy away from it. I didn't really go in that direction. But the message were so clear, and she was talking to me like a girlfriend would talk to me. So I thought it was my mind making it up. I had an imaginary friend when I was little. Her name was Sharon, and I thought that it was like I was making it all up in my mind. So after about a month or so, I got up the nerve to tell Ronnie that I was talking to Tamra, because I just felt like I was crazy and I was making it up, and I just wanted to get his validation, which he gave me. And Tamra has rocked my world, and Tammy's Ronnie's world since then. It's just been absolutely incredible. She just talks to me like a girlfriend, like a conversation that I'm having with a girlfriend. And it's funny, I went back and read the review that I did for Quest Journal, and I did say at that point, oh, it's like, it's like a conversation with a girlfriend telling you about this most amazing man, and giving you inside information. And I guess I had that feeling about her all along, but it's just been amazing. And it's just been incredible, like the messages she comes through with. And Ronnie, I didn't tell you this was one of the latest things that has happened, and it's so Tamra. I just it almost makes me cry when I think about it. My son had he went away to Colorado, and he had two rescue cats, and Mr. Bento and Princess Yuki. And when he got back a week later, Princess Yuki was acting very lethargic and wasn't really eating. And pretty much within a day or two, she had passed. And the vet that they took her to said that she was exposed to something toxic, and her kidneys pretty much shut down immediately. They didn't know what it was. They couldn't figure it out, but she just shut down her kidneys, and she passed. About a week later, Mr. Bento start showing the same signs, and within a day or two, they took him to the vet, and the vet said all we can do is keep him comfortable at this point. He has the same thing that Princess Yuki had. And they kept him comfortable, and then he crossed over in about a day or two. So they lost these two cats that were their whole lives at the same time. They were so distraught. It was just really something that's even hard to talk about right now. So I knew Tamra had a very special bond with cats, and I asked her. I said, Tamra, can you please comfort Mr. Bento and Princess Yuki? Can you please take them and comfort them? And she got back to me. She showed me a picture, and she said, I've got them, Nancy. I've got them. And she showed me a picture of her sitting with the two cats, and I could hear them purring. And she just said, I have them, Nancy. And it was amazing. It was so Tamra. It was amazing. What else, Ronnie?
Did the baby arrive?
Yes, the baby arrived. My daughter-in-law was, she was having intense contractions for 30 hours. They said they would have to do a cesarean, and they just had to. The baby was starting to show distress. The doctor broke her water, and they saw that by the color of the water that the baby's what is it called? Wait a minute. The meniconium, meconium, which is the baby's first poop, was leaking into the fluid, and he was swallowing it, and it's pretty dangerous when that happens. So they had to get him out right away. She went in for a C-section, and she started hemorrhaging. She ran 106 temperature. They finally got him out, and he was huge. He was over 9 pounds, and the doctors whisked him away, and they didn't know anything, and they didn't hear the baby cry for like 20 minutes. They were aspirating. His lungs were so full of that whatever it's called, his first poop, that it's like a tar. It's a sticky tar. It's a greenish color, and it was, his lungs were filled with that, and he couldn't breathe. So they aspirated him for about 20 minutes, and then they heard him cry. So he cried, and then they whisked him away. They didn't even really get to see the baby. At that point, they rushed him by ambulance to Children's Hospital, where they had equipment to handle this sort of thing, and he was taken there. He's doing really well. They don't know yet if the 20 minutes without oxygen, if there's any permanent damage, but he's responding. All his vitals are good, and he's going to have to be in intensive care for a week. But he's going to be okay. So this was my day today, kind of almost like your day last year.
Yeah, that must have been scary for you, Nancy.
So scary. But I had the feeling right when he was being born, I heard John Lennon singing "Beautiful Boy," which is the most beautiful song, and he just came in loud and clear, and I knew at that point that everything was going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And it's like my mantra now, that song, "Beautiful Boy." So
nice.
Yeah.
You're going to need to decompress and get some rest.
Yeah. What? Yeah. But I'm okay. It's it's just been you know what it's like. But I wanted to be here and celebrate Tamra. She's meant so much to me and my life, and you also, Ronnie. And I just love her. I just love her so much.
Thank you, Nancy. You've changed my life. Your messages were so accurate. It rocked my world.
I wanted to say something funny. I invited Tamra in to watch her life celebration with me. And as soon as Ronnie came out, Tamra said, "Ronnie looks hot." That's like girlfriends talk, it's like, so I was just laughing, and she's a joy. She's a joy. And I found out later our connection, why we have this close connection. We never really met in this lifetime. There was nothing really close going on. And then I finally asked her, I said, "Tamra, why do we have this connection now that you passed?" It just, it's really, it's amazing. But why do we have this connection? And then she said to me, "I was waiting for you to ask." Apparently, I read in the Unobstructed Way that they can't interfere, and they don't interfere unless you ask them. And when I asked her, she let loose with details, 20 minutes worth of details. We had a previous life together on Iona Island. We were both, we were working with this sort of wizard man who had a white horse and who would heal the people. And I had a pet chicken or rooster. His name was Clyde, and we would always protect him to keep him from being the night's dinner, and all these other details about this life we had. And it just, everything about it rang true. And I was telling Ronnie about it, and then I was telling the producer of the show that Ronnie was on. And I'm going to have at the end of this month, I'm going to have a life regression by his person. So that should be pretty interesting.
What I thought was wild about it was that, for instance, the detail of the guy with the white horse turned out to be true. Like, a lot of the details, going back and checking the history, turned out to be true. And I know Tamra didn't know any of that stuff in the bodies, so it was interesting that she accurately talked about this very obscure place and time, describing what was going on and specific people accurately.
Yeah. It was just, it was amazing. And also she told me that we would mix up all different kinds of potions, and we would work with women there, birthing babies and helping women, but we had to do it in secret because I guess it was I don't know, I guess it was the Catholic Church or whoever was really after everyone there who was working with magic and potions and things like that. We would just mix up all kinds of things and make medicine and everything. And we worked with mostly women. And that rang so true. I mean, I'm so into ritual. I'm all about ritual. And Ronnie mentioned to me that Tamra talked about when she was young, she used to mix up all kinds of liquids together. And it's just like everything just ran so true. It was amazing, really amazing.
Nancy, did she mention what stuck out from that lifetime that made the connection now? Like if there's something that you're continuing that you guys did before?
She said that she told me right away when I asked her, I said, Tamra, why do we have this connection? And she said, we're on the same wavelength. She said, it's easy for me to reach you and talk to you. We're on the same wavelength. And that's why we have this background together. So I guess that she reached out to me on that basis, and I got the messages so clear, and she was able to talk to me, and it was super clear. I get the she said that her work is only getting started, and her relationship with Ronnie, their love story is only getting started. That they're working on something very, very big. And she said that Ronnie and and Betty is absolutely there. And she's been with the group and sending messages, and I feel very close to Betty White. And she said that we're going to be continuing the work that she did and the work that Ronnie and her did, but on an entirely different level. She said, give up any preconceived notions of how you think you want this to go. It's going to be on a level that you will not, I cannot explain to you now because you won't get it. But just have faith, follow your heart. And she told me I was going to be very instrumental with the unseens, with communication with the unseens. That is my task, my thing to do. Ronnie is extremely important in the future and in continuing this because of their love story, and everything that comes out is based on love and from their love story. And that Ronnie brings credibility to the masses because of his association with Manly P. Hall and everything he does and the way he lectures, that he's just, I mean, people are in awe of him. And he's going to be very crucial in getting the message out to the masses. And other than that, she said, the work is going to be, I can't even describe it to you. It's beyond what you can comprehend at this point, but just have faith and stay in love. So.
That's great. That all tracks.
Yeah.
You failed to mention, though, that when she said I had credibility, she laughed, which
Well,
was a very Tamra detail.
But she was laughing. The way I put it, I said, I said that I'm going to be here handling the woo-woo end of it, and then Ronnie's going to be handling the getting the message out to the masses. And I think she laughed at the whole thing, the woo-woo part, and you. But
she undoubtedly thinks that me having credibility is funny, no question, and she should. She knows where I came from.
but the love that, like, when I get messages from her and I give them to Ronnie, the love I don't really see really well, but I feel more than anything. And when I get the messages she wants to give to Ronnie, the love is so intense and so strong and so pure that it makes me cry. It's beyond words. And that's how I always know if something is authentic, is the feeling. I have to say something funny about Mr. Hall. I thought that, where's Mr. Hall? He should be coming in with, all these, like, amazing things. And, I'm sure he's working with Tamra on the other side. But like, where is he? So at one point I was talking to Tamra, and he just kind of, he made a cameo appearance. He stuck his head into the vision screen and said, "Birds of a feather flock together," and then just left. That was it. And then when I was doing the Zoom with Ronnie, the Mystic Republic, I was watching it, and right when Ronnie started talking about how he got started on this road with Mr. Hall and Tamra, and about how they got started and everything, and all of a sudden, I'm looking out the window, and you could see on the Zoom, it's just so funny. I was looking out the window, this flock of birds, right when Ronnie was talking about Mr. Hall and Tamra, this flock of birds came in, and they were all different kind of birds. I remember seeing a cardinal, a woodpecker, some kind of finch, a golden finch, and they just kind of swooped in together, landed on the bush, stayed for a second or so, and then swooped out. Birds of a feather flock together. What could I say? And then I'm like trying to tell my husband, "Go take a video." I'm pointing to the one, "Go take a video of the birds," but it was too late. And but I have a witness. My son saw it and my husband saw it. But I thought that was so cool, so cool. Just the birds. So I think the birds are going to be my fan.
Thank you, Nancy. It's so delightful that you would take the time to share this after the day you had.
It's an honor.
Oh, thank you. Who's next? We still have some people here. Anyone interested in saying something?
I can have one thing.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Dennis.
Oh yeah, just you mentioned birds. Just real quick, the song that I was talking about the whole time with Ronnie, that we that we redid, or that we did again. You can hear in the beginning, it's just a kind of a soft, quiet guitar, and you can hear the birds in the background at the house. It's just clear as day. There were birds by the kitchen that Tamra kept at that time, and I mean, you can just hear them plain as day in the recording, and it just transports me right back into that studio as soon as I hear them, because it was just one of those things that it was just part of the house. That's just funny you mentioned that, but that's it.
That is so cool. That is so cool. She came through, and gave me this message to tell Ronnie, Ronnie, thank you for being so gentle with the birds. And this message came through before, Ronnie, you can talk about the situation that you had, but it came through before this happened.
That was
So
a weird
it wasn't
one.
in linear time, and we know they're not in linear time. It came through before Ronnie's interaction with the birds happened.
Yeah, it was like she was demonstrating that they're out, that they don't have time like we do. Because what happened was I heard a bird hit the window. I looked, it was a finch, and it looked like it was dead. It was on its back. But I went outside to check, and when I got out there, it was sitting up, but it was stunned. So I very gently stroked its head, and it was in a cold area in the shadows. And so I put my hand out, and it hopped in my hand, and I took it to the sunlight, and it sat there in the sunlight maybe for a minute, and then it just hopped up and flew away. And when it did, I said, "That's for you, Tamra." And then I get this message from Nancy that was delivered 24 hours before it happened, saying, "Thank you for being so gentle with the bird." Yeah, those kind of messages. It's like she's been teaching in these subtle, kind of delightful ways. James.
Yeah, unmute myself. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
So first, thank you for putting this together, Ronnie, and thank you for inviting me to speak. I'm super honored here to spend some time with both people that knew her in this realm and didn't. I never got a chance to meet or speak with Tamra. I'm fortunate enough to call Ronnie my friend, and from the first time, I know Ronnie from a podcast. I've had Ronnie on my podcast a number of times. And the first time I had him on, that was one of the themes throughout the episode is kind of talking about this incredible person he was married to, and definitely really, really sad to hear when she left this realm. But one of the things that I'm a person who reads the liner notes. So I do music. I did music a long time before I started the podcast. And my education and everything is audio engineering. So my whole life has kind of been around music, and I read the liner notes. And the people that inspired me were the people who made the records or made the art that didn't care about doing it for some kind of commercial value. Those were the artists and people that I gravitated towards. And I was kind of amazed that I did not know any of the lore of Tamra and her position in music history. And I remember going down the rabbit hole and just thinking to myself, this is well before, like, how could someone be so prolific with creation? It's a thing that a lot of people do, but very few people are prolific with it. And more so than that, that was just one thing she was adept at. And watching her ceremony, her celebration of life, it was just crazy to see all these people that had known her through all these different avenues. And all of them were saying she was adept at it. And I couldn't get over how did she do it? How was she able to do that? And in the last pod, when I had Ronnie on, we were talking about the new book and kind of talking about how Tamra was able to accomplish all the things that she was able to accomplish. And even with Ronnie and Tamra, there's like a Forrest Gump kind of quality to the life that you guys led. You would just not necessarily pursue things, but paths would open and you would pursue them and, again, become adept with it. And there's something to be said about the intent behind anything that you do. My personal experience is when I try and put this idea of what it should be or impose this unpure intent that thing that I'm trying to do becomes impossible. And maybe that's the thing that I have to learn in this life, is clarifying the purity of my thoughts, the purity of my intentions. And that's the one thing that I took away from hearing all those people talk. The reason she was able to accomplish so much is because the intent was always pure. A lot of people get offered record labels, contracts, and they completely sell out. They become a slave to the money. And Tamra and Ronnie, you've spit in the faces of that. Those are the people that I would always gravitate towards anyways, because it takes a lot of balls to do that. Not 95% of people that pursue the act of creation as a profession will succumb to that. Very few people will be able to carve a path doing something creatively that means something with pure intent that doesn't become corrupted. So many people create things now, and the ecosystem around creation has become commoditized and commercialized. It's like it's taken all the purity out of it and kind of sold it back to us, and in weird ways made us all kind of subject to it, and the most negative aspects of it. And Tamra didn't do that. That was not a thing that Tamra did. And Tamra was able to carve a piece of media history by doing things with pure intent to help people process trauma, to tell a story that was being suppressed. These are rarer and rarer things that occur in our society today. And so when I think about what not having known her, but having her and the things that she was able to do in her life kind of dominate my thought for periods of this year, it's how can I create? When I create, I used to create purely for selfish reasons, for my own gratification. And when I was learning audio engineering, I lived in Nashville, and that completely corrupted my relationship with art and creativity. It took me a long time to remove myself from this idea that it has to make money and it has to perform this way analytically. And just being able to see that someone was not only able to do things creatively that brought them joy, but the real intent of why they were doing them was to bring others joy or others closure or others peace. I don't know. That realization has been very inspiring. In fact, after that celebration of life, I was kind of ashamed of myself for all the times in my life where I've pursued creativity or the act of creation as this monetary thing. The creative ability of humanity is the one thing that makes us unique. It sets us, apart. People say it sets us apart from the rest of the creatures of this planet. And I don't know, the what Tamra was able to accomplish in the physical plane with just the art that she created is the thing that lasts forever. It's a thing that's infected. I was telling my wife about it, and she's a huge fan of Paramore. And I was like, Paramore doesn't exist without somebody like Tamra. And Tamra's not going to get the credit for it, but she is kind of going to get the credit for it, because all the people that know, all the people that were there when the seed was planted, see how how the bush blossomed. So I don't know. I've just been thinking a lot about, the thing that we do when we create things is it can serve ourselves, but it really should serve other people. Tamra and Ronnie, you guys have embodied that your entire time together. And I don't know, it's just this is also just beautiful seeing people still being able to. She's here. We're all here. We're all together right now having this conversation because of her presence. So, when people talk about legacy, for some people that's money, for some people that's having your name chiseled in stone on, the Walk of Fame. And for other people, it's like leaving some kind of tangible emotional residue in a world that is just in desperate need of it. So
Thank you.
that, yeah,
Well said.
that's my time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very well said. Thank you.
Thank you, James. That was beautiful. KJ, did you want to say something? Are you just hanging out? How are you doing over there?
I'm doing good. It's been a real treat to hear music and poetry and photography and just stories of the love that Tamra had for people. My dog was here for a little bit and he was blissed out, just soaking up kind of a little bit of love that I think comes through in this meeting. So thank you for allowing me to witness what a beautiful woman she was towards others. That is.
Well, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. That means a lot to me. Moti? Are you there? Would you like to say something?
Hi, Ronnie. Yeah, so I don't know if it's my place so much, but I messaged you a couple of times on Facebook recently. I've literally just come across you in the last 3 weeks through thinking, and just so inspired and so touched, and just really drawn in and somewhat overwhelmed, to be honest, by kind of what I've been hearing and seeing, and just the authenticity and the wisdom and the life journey and the devotion between people. And I hope I'm not overstepping, but I just wanted to, I don't know, contribute to fan the flames, so to speak, because there's just so much beautiful stuff. Like it's just, yeah, it does sad me to a degree that I didn't become acquainted with you and Tamra sooner, but at the same time, it's sort of, it's fueling my own desire and drive to fulfill my purpose in life, you could say. Like there's all kinds of interesting synchronicities, I mean, even just the name Mildred, right? I hadn't heard that name in so long, and it popped up a couple of days ago, so that was pretty cool. The starfish story, which is just, I remember hearing that, some 20 some years back, and it definitely stuck with me, but I hadn't heard it in a long time. But I thought it was just a beautiful gesture, a beautiful, just a really poetic way for you to represent her, and I may not be a starfish, in a direct sense, but I certainly feel sort of like the starlight of everything that you've created together, and so I am a starfish by extension, or whether it's degrees of separation or what have you. So yeah, I guess there are a couple of things that I maybe would like to share just briefly. One being, there's a quote that I really love, that I come back to from time to time, that goes, "Nothing splendid has ever been achieved, except by those who dared believe that something inside them was superior to circumstance." And I really feel that you two have lived that, like from the little I've gathered in the last few weeks, just listening to interviews and hearing you speak, and her as well. Like, I just blown away by her gentleness and just her ferocity at the same time from what I'm seeing and hearing, which is also like just a fusion of polarity that I think is, I don't know, we all, I mean, especially artists, like I'm in the arts myself, in my own way, and I that's why I feel a kinship with everyone who's speaking, here as well. I feel like that's something that everybody who is drawn to the arts is striving for, is finding somehow transcendence through merging, polarities or opposites, and just finding creative expression to do that in our own unique ways. So that was one thing. The other thing I don't know, I kind of feel compelled to share as well is that, I've heard you speak about your background, just the fact that you're the child of Holocaust survivors. I myself am the grandchild of Holocaust survivors. And, I don't know if you know, but in the Jewish calendar, yesterday evening began till this evening began the fast of the 9th of Av, like the month called Av, which is, it's considered to be basically the I guess in some ways most tragic day in the Jewish calendar, because it signifies the destruction of the first temple, the second temple. There's been multiple calamities. I've personally lost someone extremely dear to me on the 23rd as well, 3 years ago. And so I heard Nancy mention it as well, just with her experience, and I'm glad that you see the light in it. So based on even astrology and again what I've heard you share, it's just these cycles are something that are ever present in my mind, and so maybe the last thing I'll say is that according to Jewish tradition, it's this day filled with grief in the messianic era, right? And when we reach that place of enlightenment collectively, is meant to become one of the most joyous of days as well.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So thank you for allowing me to partake, and blessings to you all.
Thank you. That was beautiful, Moti. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you.
Please keep in touch.
I happily.
Anybody want to say anything else? You're welcome to comment, or are we at the end of our celebration? I leave it all up to you.
I guess I wouldn't mind saying just a little something.
Please.
So back in the 90s, I think I met Tamra, and it was so weird how we met and coordinated with each other without talking to coordinating. And so I guess I just wanted to say is that I was in a particular place in the LA music scene. She was in an adjacent place, but she always seemed to pop up. And what she was popping up about were those people who were her starfish. This person needs to do this. And she did this, I'm sure, not just to me, but to whoever she thought could facilitate them, doing that project, making that art, doing whatever, right? She was like a communicative node that was just, it's like the art was flowing through her. She was providing the conduit. Sometimes I was a piece of the conduit. Like when she contacted me in '95 when these two high school girls were trying to put together a Riot Grrrl convention, couldn't find a PA. And that's the kind of thing that she did, right? And so really, because of her, that happened. I mean, it's not as simple as that, but there wouldn't have been any, PA, live, music. It wouldn't have happened, right? And those two high school girls, right? They were two of her starfish. they wanted to accomplish something. They wanted to make a Riot Grrrl convention, right? And she took that Starfish and she passed it on the network to make it happen. And I have Tamra over the years contacts me like out of the blue, about a film, a band, a documentary, whatever. And when I am able, right, I'm like, okay, well, this is how it works. We're the conduit. Here we go. And that is just what is so impressive about her, and what I think we need more of in the world, right, are the people who will pick up the Starfish, move it to where it needs to go so that people can make the music and the art and their projects and whatever it is happen. That's the magic of Tamra, is carrying that Starfish to where it needs to go, and not directing, but facilitating, right? Just being the tide, that lets the wood drift on it to where it needs to be. So I don't know how clear it was, but what I wanted to get across is she is such a great, and notice I speak in the present and not the past tense. She is a great example of what the world needs more of. And I'm so happy to be able to celebrate her. It's not like we were the best of friends, but we came together to make things, I was part of her, node of connections that let her move her Starfish along. And I'm just so grateful to have been able to be part of that when I was. And Ronnie, my heart goes out to you. The loss I know is immense, and no one's grief can compare to what you have been going through. But I love the way that you turned it into today a celebration of what was truly special about both of you. So,
Wow, thank you.
may her memory be a blessing.
Thank you. Well, this is thanks to Nancy, and thanks to you, and thanks to Edie, who made it possible for me to do this. And I'm deeply grateful to you. This would have been a very different day for me. Nancy, if you hadn't brought the idea, and Chelsea, if you hadn't helped facilitate and you brought up the Starfish idea. Both you and Edie had this idea of let's invite people to share. And I think that's beautiful. And I think we will do this annually. And next time, hopefully, we'll know how to do it, or we'll get somebody who does. I think I get it now. Don't put out the grrrl